You see Kari Lake at the podium there. She was born for public service and politics. Just an amazing candidate. She almost won the governorship. A lot of people out there think she actually did win, but that's another discussion. She's running for the United States Senate right now, and it looks like very powerful people do not want her in politics. You heard about this conversation that was recorded between her and the state party chair of Arizona some time ago. Listen to this.
There are very powerful people that want to keep you out.
I know they do.
But they're willing to put their money where their mouth is in a big way. So, this conversation never happened. Is there a number at which
I can be bought?
not be bought?
That's what it's about.
You can take a pause for a couple of years.
No.
And then go right back to what you're doing.
No.
Big fat no. How much money did you turn down, Kari Lake, as we look at Jeff DeWitt, who just resigned as the state party chair not too long ago? Kari, welcome back. How are you? What a conversation you had.
Yeah, it really did shake me. And after I had that conversation, which happened 11 months ago, Greg, I was very busy when that conversation happened. And I later that evening got on a plane and was heading out to Washington, D.C. I'd been invited by CPAC to do a keynote speech. And the whole way out, I was just mulling that over in my mind. And I thought, I have to tell people what happened. Even though in that conversation, he said several times, now don't tell anybody about this. You can't tell anybody this is happening. Please don't tell anybody this is happening. And I told everybody on stage, for 11 months, I've been talking about this, and the mainstream media hasn't really asked me any questions about it. And what we have here is a corrupt individual. And I'm glad he's resigned. We are at a moment in our history, Greg, where we got to root these people out. We can't have corrupt people running our government, running our companies, running our, whether it be local, state, federal government. It's disgusting. President Trump calls it the swamp, and I think the swamp is much bigger than just Washington, D.C.
By the way, I don't think he's affiliated with NASA. He happens to be standing in front of the National Air and Space Administration for some reason. A couple of things. Who do you think he's talking about? Our friends out east. Who is that?
Oh, boy. I thought about that, and I came up with a lot of different ideas on who it could be. And you know what's scary about that? You could sit and think about that for 24 hours straight, and you could probably come up with a list of about 400 people and entities. That's how corrupt and deep the swamp is. I don't know who it is. I really don't. I mean, you heard me talking about Trump versus DeSantis. This was 11 months ago when that whole machine was kind of being worked up to try to take down Trump. And now we know that nobody's going to take down Trump. And so I don't know. I wish I did. I wish he would answer. Who was it? Who sent him to my house? Who sent him over to my house? He called me 5 minutes. He said, I'm right outside your house. I'm on my way over. And I have something I got to talk to you about, the Senate race. I can't do it in person. I can't do it on the phone. I have to do it in person. We can't have it over the phone. And that was a pretty scary kind of thought. When somebody says, I can't talk to you over the phone, I have to do it in person, that kind of raises your, the hair on your arms a little bit, right?
Let me ask you this. Who's the villain here? Is it the guys out east, or is it him? He's running the state party. According to him, they just didn't want you, or he didn't want you to run maybe this cycle. So he's the messenger. Are the villains, are the villains the guys who sent him? And he's a villain as well? I'm trying to he just put out a big statement,
Right.
I'm all for Trump. This was taken out of context. I thought Kari was a friend and all that stuff. He wasn't a friend?
He's not all for Trump. He uses that line, and he's not. He was in the DeSantis camp. There's other recordings of him. This is a guy who says so many stupid things that people record him, and he says publicly he's for Trump, but he was in the DeSantis camp. And so, you can't believe what comes out of his mouth, unfortunately. And I don't think anybody who speaks that way is an honorable person. I'm sorry. He says we're friends. Greg, I consider you a friend. I have hundreds and thousands of friends. I would never ever talk to somebody this way. He put me in a horrible position, and thank God I'm ethical, and I would never, ever agree to something like that. But what kind of a friend would come into your home and pitch you for taking a bribe? I told him I wouldn't take $1 million, $10 million, $20 million, or $1 billion, because we're on the verge of losing our country. And I'm not motivated by money. I'm motivated by my children's future and that they have a future. And we all got to get on board with that. This country has gone so corrupt right now. We need to stand up and say, we're not going to be motivated by the number of zeros we have behind our account in our bank account. We have to be motivated by what are we doing to save our country. I'm horrified that he thinks this is okay. This is not okay. And anybody who speaks to people this way and throws this kind of stuff out there is just frankly unethical. I don't know who the bad guy is. I used to think it was the people who sent him to my house, and now I think the messenger is just as guilty. Why would you even agree to do that?
So now that he's gone, and by the way, you say in there, this is a hill worth dying on. You know, this is a hill you can't be bought, and I thought that was quite a moment, and happened in your living room. Now we all know about it, and I think that's pretty awesome. Now that this man is gone, what is the fallout? Does this benefit your campaign? What can you get done now? Was he standing in the way of something, or is this just to prove a point, or what happens next?
I recorded this because I was worried. I thought there could be a threat. I get a lot of threats. As a matter of fact, I get email threats. I get online threats all the time. And I thought there could be a threat involved in this. So I need to record this for my safety. And if I have to, go to police with it. And I never listened to it until just a couple of days ago. And I don't know what nudged me to listen to that recording. And my daughter, who's 20, was sitting with me. And I pressed play, and she was gasping listening to this call. And she said, "Mom, what are you going to do about this?" And I wasn't going to do anything about it. And I thought, oh my gosh, if I don't do something about this kind of behavior, what will my daughter think about me? We have to change the way things are going. There's a reason they don't want Trump in D.C., because he is opposed to the corrupt, disgusting system that is Washington, D.C., that has corrupted our whole country and our government. And D.C. doesn't want me either, according to this conversation I had with Jeff. D.C. doesn't want me either. Frankly, we should only be sending people to Washington, D.C. that D.C. hates. That's who we should be sending. Anybody the media and D.C. hates is who we should be electing, because we got to turn this nightmare around.
And here you want to represent Arizona, and there are people out east, powerful people out east. One thing that's mentioned in the call is they could set you up with some sort of job, put you on the payroll of some company. Now, I want to get your opinion on this. My sense is that this is very crude. I don't like it. This is ugly. Something tells me, letter of the law, it's not illegal. Like, it would have been illegal. He said, hey, we want you to go to the Senate. We're going to give you all this money, and we want you to vote this way. That is, by definition, corrupt. This is maybe slimy and unseemly and all kinds of things, but I don't think anyone's getting arrested, right?
I don't know if it's illegal. Probably not. I mean, look, we're not even living in a system. We're living in the post-justice America right now. I mean, look at Bob Menendez. He's got gold bars sewn into his jacket, and they're sitting there acting like that's fine and dandy. We've got Hunter Biden selling his finger paints for $500,000. What's legal and what's not illegal? I don't think anything's going to happen with this, but I think it's important to show how disturbing this is, how politicians are controlled. They wanted me to step away from politics. I believe it's because I bring people to the ballot box that will also help President Trump. And they don't want President Trump. They're afraid of him. He's going to tear down this corrupt, disgusting system. I'm going to be in Washington, D.C. alongside him, working in the Senate. And we are going to restore our government and give it back to we the people as our founding fathers envisioned.
Beautiful. Kari Lake. Go to karilake.com, and good luck, and be careful.
Thank you.